Hello and welcome. I am your host, Tennille Christensen from Earth Mama, where I teach people to get skilled in sustainability. This is the Permaculture Herbalism segment brought to you by the Elder Tree, where we are putting the medicine in the hands of people. Thank you for tuning in. I'm recording from my studio in Jabukai land of Kuranda, Australia. And I'm going to give my respects today and always to the First Nations people, past, present and future, and offer my gratitude for the opportunities to learn their ancient wisdom in our modern world, bridging time and culture so we may all thrive. This segment is all about merging the world of permaculture and herbalism, so the art and science of ecological design and plant wisdom or plant medicine so that we can cultivate healthy landscapes and people. If you want to be involved, you can be part of the Elder Tree Trove, which is our Patreon community. Stay tuned to this episode for more information, and without further ado, let's get into the interview. Thanks for joining me. I am excited to be showcasing a special farming woman of our North Queensland region. Her name is Sally Fields. She's a friend, and we had this lovely conversation on the couch of her farm, chilling out, talking all things soil health, all the great opportunities that are coming and happening currently in North Queensland around regenerative farming and farmers, actually teaching farmers. The project that she's spearheading, known as ATIC, which is the Atherton Tablelands integrated collaboration as part of the organization called Sustainable Table. And she's super passionate. She's a consultant for natural field solutions. She's an agronomist, and she's bridging the world of permaculture, her experience in that background and understanding systems thinking, and working with farmers, traditional farmers, and creating some great opportunities with funding and peer-to-peer learning opportunities, and connecting consumers with farmers who are doing some groundbreaking work, really. So enjoy and check out the show notes to learn more about the upcoming events that are happening in agroforestry and ways that you could be involved in what's happening in our North Queensland region and also around Australia. Well, hello, Sally Fields. Thank you so much for joining me in this interview. It's been a long time coming. Excited to listen into your wisdom today about your role in North Queensland and the work you do in regenerative farming. And yeah, can you tell our listeners, who you are and what you've been doing?
So I moved to North Queensland a little over 8 years ago. I guess I'm a fifth generation farmer. My lineage is farming on every sides of the family tree for centuries. So I guess being a Fields is my last name, I guess I was destined to do this kind of work. I'm trained as an agronomist, and I've been working more recently as a project manager and working with farmers to help them transition to better practices. Currently, I'm working on a new project, the Atherton Tablelands integrated collaboration, and we're looking at logistics and distribution and of our food systems in North Queensland and building consumer awareness around that. And there's also a pilot on transitioning farmers to better practices. So yeah, there's lots of good stuff going on in that space, and that's taking up a lot of my time these days.
Awesome. So where did that all begin? Can you tell us how permaculture came into your life and how it's influenced you in the work that you do?
Yeah, so I was living in California, actually, like as a share farmer on a medicinal cannabis farm, and somebody started talking about Bill Mollison in Australia, and I really couldn't believe that I had done a 4-year university degree in agriculture and I'd never heard of permaculture. So it really sparked my interest, and when I went back to Australia it was winter in California, as I was living over there, I went back to Australia for summer, and I went seeking out this permaculture, and I did a PDC with Jeff Lawton in Lismore, and then they were doing a practical 2-week at Bill Mollison's farm in Tasmania in Sisters Creek. So that Jeff was hosting that as well with Bill and Lisa. So I went down to that, which was really awesome. We got to stay down there, and we had fireside stories with Bill, and he's such a character. And I just it was a really amazing time. So that's that was my intro to permaculture, hearing about it thousands of miles across the Pacific Ocean, and then coming back to Australia to sniff out what it was all about. And then from there I did once my son was born in 2008, I think in 2011, I did a cert for in permaculture at Jambon Gardens, and had a year doing that, and also living in the subtropics and learning from gardeners there about how to grow food in the subtropics, and then implementing we had assessments to do. So I had 13 acres there, so we were doing a lot of we were implementing what we were learning on the land and building gardens and building out of recycled materials. And then I went on to have students from that course come and stay, and so we would continue that cycle and have people on the land tuning into that as we were living there. So we really had a lot of fun on that property.
And was that Robin Francis facilitating and teaching?
Yeah, that was with Robin Francis at Jambon. Yeah.
Great. And so in terms of what you learnt there, because a lot of people think that permaculture is for hippies and it's just about growing food, like how has that informed or influenced anything that you do now? Because you've got the university degree, you work with mainstream farmers. Has any of that been brought through?
Yeah, I think when I worked out that it was going to be quite tricky to make money being a permaculture consultant. I know you and Blake have done that successfully. So I was like, I was thinking about it, and I'm like, well, I wanted to buy a house too, and there was no way that I could buy the house that I was living in without actually getting back into work and getting that job that you need to get finance. And so I made that commitment to go back and get a job in agriculture. And I guess I just saw that opportunity as somebody that was, I guess even how we were raised, Dad was showing us around systems that were being overgrazed. Our neighbour was a horrific overgrazer, and he would point that out, and the different recovery times and how our farm would recover much quicker, and these flogged out paddocks of our neighbour would take ages, and those difference in the systems. And he was really a conservationist, and he is a conservationist at heart. So those lessons started really young, and I had that poster about when the last tree is cut down, and we'll realise that only then that money cannot be eaten. That was on my wall as a kid. So there was those influences from quite young. But I think that permaculture training that I had, and then trying to integrating that, and then working out how do I take all of these learnings and bring them across into agriculture. And I guess that's where I found that sweet spot with the adult education, because I've done teaching that cert for teachers training, and was actually teaching on some PDCs as well. So there's that interest of really loving that space of adult education and sharing information, and how could I be somebody that, with the skills that I had, bring that awareness into that conventional agriculture space. So I think that's where I found that sweet spot in the project that I ran for the last 5 years previous to this, Healthy Farming Futures. That was around an expression of interest in farmers being able to come into that space that wanted to learn about soil health and do the soil health training, and then we'd take a soil test and then teach them how to read that soil test, and then look at what their management practices were, and then how what easy wins could they make to start doing things that would support their soil microbiome and reduce the amount of chemicals and fertilizers that they were using. So, and then get the action plans and farm management plans from there. So that was a really great project to work on, and I've seen that through from beginning to end. And it ended last year. I ran a soil to food conference in Atherton. We had 120 farmers there, and that whole ethos was healthy soil, people and profits. And it was around sharing farmer-led innovation that supported a change in mindset. So that conference, we had 17 speakers and 16 of them were actually farmers, and it was really well received. Like we had it in a shed. We transformed a local farmer's shed into a conference centre, and Costa joined us really last minute, and he emceed a session, and he actually had farmers crying, like getting them out of their heads and into their hearts. And we had, Christine Jones was up, and we also, a really successful farmer who's farming 8,000 hectares in Victoria. He came up and did a demonstration and was really explaining to farmers how he could profitably use biofertilizers and run his business. So it's a really awesome space to work in, because the landholders, like farmers are the biggest landholders of the world. Like they're the biggest army of, and if you can change and influence how, like from mindset to mindscape of how from mindset to landscape, how they're seeing, I guess, like how they're seeing their natural systems, and really connect back into that hard space and get that connection back to the land, and the transformations are really amazing. So yeah, like back to how permaculture's played into that, it's definitely played a role, because it's just that observation of natural systems, and with the principles of permaculture and how they overlay. Like I don't talk in the farming world like with permaculture principles, sure, but they definitely there's a foundation for that, yeah, with what I do, for sure.
Secretly embedded.
Well,
I see you as the bridger, and you have to talk their language as well. So
I am a farm, like, yeah, that's where I've come from. That's, yeah, my roots. It's like so I am of the land, and that's I know it intimately.
Yeah.
So
so you'd also understand the, where the older school mindset comes from, and the challenges in trying out new things without, like it's a learning curve when you're doing regenerative agriculture and you're learning these ways. And with permaculture, like when you do a PDC, it's all about design, but it's not necessarily like the practical, like, okay, now manage the farm. Like that's a huge, big, different next step. And it just takes time to see and learn natural systems. You have to be on the land to be able to do that.
Yeah, and farmers innately, they're observing, they're kinesthetic learners, and they are intimately connected with their land. So it's just I guess it's that thing, like it's like we set up these like safe to succeed trials, and you just try a small amount of land and just try a new practice and see how that goes. Like there's too much on the line, and often these farms have been held for generations, and there's a lot of pressure on farmers there's a lot of expectation to follow in the footsteps of their forefathers, and they don't want to be the person that loses the family farm, and there's mounting pressure with the debts and just even the rising cost of the inputs, like fertilizers have gone through the roof, and just as the soil has got tighter and the organic matter and the carbon has been burnt off by balancing the amount of synthetic fertilizers that have been put on, it's a really hard game. Like the profit is way less than it used to be, and there's so many pressures on the farmers. So coming into that space and really meeting people where they are, meeting farmers where they are, and farmers really need to be open to even want to look at changing. Like it's just a waste of everyone's time if people aren't ready, and usually it's when people have existential I can't even say that word,
when they're in crisis mode.
When usually it comes at a crisis point of people, someone has died, or there's a family breakup, or there's some big thing and people are really questioning what they're doing, or they're about to lose their farm. Like sometimes it comes at those really bottom breaking points that when people are really looking at what they're doing and looking for answers, that there can be that space for growth into new places. So yeah, there's quite a lot to it, and I think you really need to look at what you're doing yourself too, and you can't really regenerate and help other people unless you're doing that work yourself as well. So it's as much as a personal journey as it is one to embark on with others. So so it's a really cool space.
I love how your conference was farmers who are doing it, teaching other farmers. Like, what kind of practices, what are you seeing is being adopted and shared?
Well, there's so many different enterprises with farming, and in the north, it is really a tropical food bowl. So we've got everything from grazing enterprises and dairy through to tropical fruits to like broadacre cropping, and cotton's a new thing in the north now. There's so many different enterprises, but I guess when you bring it all back, it's the soil that is our common ground, and it's that interest when you actually just strip it right back. We're all totally reliant on that thin layer of topsoil that surrounds our planet. So when you start talking soil and people really understanding how it functions and why it's important and how they can care for it better, there's a real sense of people uniting over it, and it's just like a farmer the other day I introduced, he described it as finding a door in his house that he never knew was there. And
wow.
He opened it and he stepped through, and it's just this amazing new journey and a new world that's been discovered. So it does really feel like that, and there's, I guess it's that thing with whatever people are into, it's that whole finding other people that are interested in the same thing, and then farmers that are like geeking out on soil health and they're like, whoa, this is actually really fun. And we've got there's a wet tropic soil care group that's been formed out of this soil health education that's been going on in the north now. It's coming on a decade that was established, and that's been established, and there's actually a field day in a couple of weeks actually out at John Gargan's place on the Sunday. He's got an amazing experimental syntropic hectare going there that's just absolutely phenomenal, that integrates agroforestry in with all kinds of fruit trees and taro and mulberries, and then he's using guinea pigs and geese as weed control. So it's definitely, if people are looking for something to totally blow their minds, that's happening.
All right. Well, let's put that in the show notes. Yeah. Is that an invitation for the public to come?
Yeah, it's open for the public, that one.
Excellent. I'll be there. That sounds amazing.
Yeah, I'll clarify the date, and you can slip that in somewhere.
For sure.
I want to say it's the 21st, but I don't want to get it wrong.
We'll get that confirmed.
Yeah, we'll get that one in. But yeah, there's lots of really cool events happening this year, and we've got the first soil key renovator coming to Queensland, and it's arriving in the next couple of weeks, and there's a field day that's built around that. I got a grant last year, and that's buffering out, so the farmer's got some seed, and he's being supported to put in a large demonstration site, and there'll be a field day happening on farm in Malanda on the 6th of June at Glen Jury's place, and we'll look at what's actually been planted there already, and we'll see the demonstration of it being planted. So how we're baselining this project is by using Land to Market. So that's a Savoury Institute baseline, and it's ecological outcome verification. So we just put long and short-term sites in last week through the Australian Holistic Management Co-op. They came to town, and so what that does is baseline the land against itself and look at the landscape functions. Yep. So that report will be generated by the time the field day comes. So we'll have the co-op coming up as well to talk to that, which is basically at the centre of all of this work we do. It's like, is the landscape improving?
Yeah.
And there's it's a really awesome framework to look at things like how's the organic matter incorporating, what species are growing. It's like botanical surveys done. We're looking at infiltration. It's looking at how the dung's incorporating. What are the insects looking like? There's different scoring for each function, and then reports are generated for every site. So there's lots of this monitoring being done all over the world, but it's the first time that land to market has come to North Queensland.
Okay.
And it's the first, and the closest site is in Mackay but now we've got one in the Atherton Tablelands. And the really unique thing about this, it's a pathway for consumers to know that the animal products that they're using are coming off land that's actually either sustaining or regenerating. So that's its point of difference. It's that so after the baseline year, in the following year, if those sites come back that they're sustaining or regenerating, then there's that pathway for the farmer to actually market that produce under a land to market verification tick.
Amazing. So like you'd have the organic tick, a consumer is going to know that the farmer is putting in these certain practices and improving the land, and there's a body that can actually say that this is legitimate.
It's not prescriptive though, Toddy. It's like the farmer can do whatever they want.
Right. And
it's like if the land is sustaining or improving, then they can market it under the land to market tick.
Cool.
So it's really, it opens up the conversation. If things aren't tracking so well in some of those areas, then because it falls under 4 different categories, and then you can go, well, how are we going to improve the energy flow of this system, or what's happening with the infiltration? What management practices have we been doing in the last 12 months that might have actually been acting not in our favour or not in the favour of the land, and how can we actually change those to improve what we're doing? So it's a really amazing framework.
That's cool. So it's not prescriptive. It allows for innovation. It allows for them to do what works on their site within their capacity.
Yeah, totally.
Has that good intention.
Yeah, totally.
I love it. And is that the same as from the Rachel's farm? That same system?
Yeah, they did speak to that on Rachel's farm. Like that's
the movie Rachel's Farm. If anyone hasn't seen it, I'll put that in the show notes too.
Yeah, it's on Netflix. It's definitely worth watching. I seen it when I was doing a scroll the other night. Okay. So yeah, it's definitely worth to have a watch of that, and some of these concepts of holistic grazing management, where you're ensuring that there's adequate rest on the plants to recover, and you're moving cattle in a way that they're an amazing tool to regenerate the land when they've been managing in a way that's regenerative. So it opens up a lot of those concepts and looks at that. And then they're also doing the ecological outcome verification through the co-op. They speak to that in that Rachel's Farm film as well. So that's just, the co-op's been up last week, and I'm actually training to be a monitor with them, so that's why I was on site with that. I've done quite a few properties in Queensland last year, and I'm aiming to be a hub verifier, so I can actually, because the data has to be verified in Australia, and then it goes to America to be verified before it actually gets entered and a report gets generated. So there's quite a lot of checks for human error in it, and there's quite a lot of training that goes into making sure there's some consistent, making sure there's consistency with that method. So
that's amazing.
Cool.
So it's so great to have you and the community able to provide that service and bring that to farmers in North Queensland. That's so great.
Yeah, well, it kind of rounds it out. Yeah. Like it's like well, why are we doing this? And how do farmers get recognised for actually doing the work?
For sure.
And what does that look like? And how do consumers know if they're just getting greenwashed, or is this actually is there pathways that they can use their dollar to vote, so to speak?
Vote with your fork.
Totally. And what does that look like? So that's part of this project that I'm directing at the moment, this Atherton Tablelands integrated collaboration. We're calling it ATIC. There's a working group that's just formed, and we'll be looking at that consumer education piece as well as the logistics and distribution of what does it look like. Because I don't know if everyone knows this, but so much food is grown up here, and it goes via Sydney, Melbourne, and Brisbane and gets sold, wholesaled, and then comes back
travelled back up.
It's crazy.
Hundreds of thousands of kilometres.
It's so crazy. So we're getting we grow all this fresh produce, and we get it at its oldest point by the time we buy it. So that's pretty nuts. So we're looking at it's basically the project is looking at what systems are already happening on the ground that are providing food locally, and how do we build their capacity, and what are the levers for change. So phase 2 is all around the pilots are around exactly that until August next year. So
watch the space.
Yeah, it's pretty
Excellent.
cool. Fun stuff going on.
So much fun.
Yeah.
I remember you calling me up and going, come out to this farm, look at all these variety, the diversity of cover crops. And we're like stomping around, getting all geeking out on all the different seeds and the layers and the cover crops here in Koa. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I totally do. I've actually just planted a cover crop right here. Like we just created this garden, and where we're sitting, just so people know, there's about a 2 meter swath of bare ground, and nature is like, it will fill vacuums. That's just what it does. So if you plant a multi-species cover crop, then you can fill that void with actually plants that you select that are doing different things for the soil. So I've actually seeded this bare ground with some of my multi-species mix, and I'm pretty excited. There's heaps of stuff germinating, so it'll be pretty wild. It might not get too tall now, it's getting a bit colder, but there should be like at least 1.5 meters of like some pretty thick cover crop right on my front veranda in the next few weeks. So yeah, it'll be a fun little experiment, and I'll enjoy watching the flowers and everyone loving it. So yeah.
And the bees
and everyone, yeah.
Awesome. Well, when it comes to plants, then let's segue into the next question. What is a must-have? Like, what do you reckon home gardeners should definitely have growing?
Home gardens. Well, I guess if we want to talk, like, what I personally love when I'm walking around, like, and this is not even really from a medicinal point of view, but, like, I don't think I could be without finger limes. I just love, like, I love having, like, caviar limes in salads and just munging on them when I'm in the garden. But yeah, but as far as medicinal wins, guaiacola is a really easy one, and that's good to chew on a couple of them a day. It's like a nice little ground cover, and it's meant to be the longevity, and you probably know more about it than me. I think it's good for your brain.
Great for our brain, because you look at it like the doctor of
looks
signatures.
like a brain.
Looks like a brain. Arthritic herb.
Yeah, so that one's pretty good. But I've been pretty slack on my garden since I moved north. I left an amazing garden that we created in northern New South Wales when I moved up here, and I just was really like, I'm not going to do that to another rental property. So I've really focused on my career, but now I've actually bought the rental that I was in, and I'm like, why didn't I start the garden when I moved here? So it's funny how these things happen. So I'm getting stuck into the garden now. It's really great, and got some keen gardening mates around. One in particular around the corner, Beck. She's crazy mad gardener. So we've been having heaps of fun in the garden recently, and we've definitely ripped that band-aid off now. So it'll just be
let the rain settle, and winter will be gun busters.
Yeah, but I'd like to, and I've been talking to Blake about it a little bit, but what I want to do here is use this place as a demonstration of the integrated animal systems, because I'm mad keen on the animals, and what does it take to actually run a couple of head of cattle and have a food system, and how does that setup look? So I see a real opportunity on this place. It's just a bit over 5 acres to be able to show or create systems where that can actually function, because I do see it. I call it meditative mowing. You'd see I've got neighbours that sit on their mowers, and I swear it's because they don't have fishing boats, and they just like, they don't know how to fish, or they don't fish, or they don't have a boat, so they just mow. And it's like, I get it, like, it's really meditative. That's why I call it meditative mowing, because I actually like mowing too, but it's the same as overgrazing, you know, like people point at farmers, and it's like, oh, look at what they're doing to their land, but so many suburban people is just as guilty, and they're just actually flogging their country that they're caretaking by mowing it all the time. So it opens up a lot of conversations, and we're actually, hopefully I'll get some really cool education tools landing in the next couple of months if this grant that we just put in successful, and it will really show people what that impact, what does a rainfall look like on these different soil use, what effect does the rain have on these different scenarios, whether it's a cover crop or bare ground or mowed lawn, and how you manage your land, what impact does that actually have? So I'm really looking forward to rolling that out, and just hoping the grant gods smile on us and rain some money, and we've got some great plans unfolding soon with that.
So where would people find all of this information to be able to connect and know what these events are, and through what platform?
So I've actually got a seasonal newsletter coming out through the ATIC project, so that would be a great newsletter for people to sign up to. So if they went to the Sustainable Table website, sustainabletable.org.au, and go to the if you go to the Sustainable Table website and then search up even if you search up ATIC project, the Atherton Tablelands integrated collaboration, and sign up to our newsletter. Yep. We've got the autumn newsletter coming out actually this week.
Okay.
And then so I'm including events that are happening in the region on that. Wonderful. And then a farmer focus interview.
Yep.
And that it's the first one that we're putting out, but there will be an archive for those newsletters. I think it'll be held on the Sustainable Table website. But yeah, that would be a really good resource to start with, because there's some of the events that I've spoke about. There's details on how that looks and how to find more information on them.
Get there,
yeah, that sort of stuff. So yeah, that would be I'm trying to make that a bit of a go-to resource.
All right, we'll send links so everyone can find out through there.
Yeah.
All right, final two questions. What herbs have you used in your life to help you with either recovering from illness or for improving your health?
Herbs. One that came to mind, there's one that, because I used to work at, my friend had several Happy High Herb shops, so I'd put that hat on when my kid was small, and I really like that job. There's so many people come in with so many different things that they need help with, and put on my herbal hat and give them remedies or tell them to buy this or that. But one I really have liked and used quite often is it's called night tea. You can get it at the herb shops, and there's a Amazon sedative in there called Mulungu. So it is really helpful for getting you to sleep. So how I'd use that, and I think there's passion flower in it as well. You make a tea, and you can, I don't find it really hard to go to sleep at the start of the night, but sometimes I'll wake up to go to the toilet around 1 or 2, and then I can't settle again. Mm-hmm. So having a cup of that, and then it's just enough to calm down your mind and send you back to sleep, but you don't feel groggy or anything the next day. So that one's a really great win, that Mulungu. And you could probably grow it here. I just never seen it growing here, but that's like a far, far away herb that I've really enjoyed using over the years.
Yeah, great.
And so that one's really cool.
Because you need that as a mum to be able to fall back asleep, but then wake up fresh. Yeah. When the child's completely on.
Yeah, totally. I remember I took a half of a sleeping tablet once, and I felt so horrible the next day, and I was just can't do it. Never again, It's no.
Lean to the herbs.
Yeah.
All right, I haven't heard of that one, so I'll have to, passion flower for sure, but.
Yeah, Mulungu. It's a really good one. It's marketed, you can buy just Mulungu in the herb shops, but it's also called night tea. It's the blend between Mulungu and passion flower. It's really good. You just don't drink the sludge in the bottom.
Okay. Note to self.
Don't drink the sludge.
Don't drink the sludge. Great. Yeah. All right. Well, anything else that's alive and thriving in your world right now?
Oh, alive and thriving. I don't know, things are going really well. I really feel that the energy shifted this year with the Year of the Dragon. Things just seem it feels like we were out of the swamp somehow. So yeah, I don't know, it just feels like there's lots of things that are opening up. There's lots of really good opportunities coming in North Queensland. I'm super excited about this ATIC project, and I really already want to know what it looks like. You know, it's one of those things of like, what are we crafting? Because we're really bringing in wisdom. The one of the superpowers with Sustainable Table, because it's like pretty much like Farm Chicks organisation of, and it pulls in like a national advisory team. So there's people in other areas that have done things like we're trying to do in ATIC, and what's worked and what hasn't, and so there's a lot of embedded wisdom that's going into how these pilots have been developed, and I'm really enjoying seeing what that looks like on a really, like, what does that broader collaboration piece look like, where you can pull in these wisdom bits to craft a new story
and open sharing.
Yeah. It's a great space. It's like they have this ethos of we have this ethos as like it's a complement of interest, not a conflict of interest.
I love that, a complement of interest.
Yeah, because it's like if you go into a community and somebody is like really busy and they've got lots of hats on, it's like, how is there not going to be crossover? And it's like a complement of interest, right? Because you got fingers in lots of pies because you know what's going on. So I've really enjoyed that about Sustainable Table, is that shift of really looking at what, like, I guess, like how collaboration is just, you know, like teamwork makes the dream work, you know. So.
And it's a bunch of women leading this, is it?
Yeah, like it's all farmer ladies.
Great.
Farm chicks from down the coast, and a lot in Victoria and New South Wales. But yeah, there's Jade Miles heads it up. She's a phenomenal superpower lady. She's got a farm with her husband and family in the foothills of the Victorian Alps, and Tanya Massey, Charles Massey's daughter, she's on this team as well. And there's a really phenomenal team.
Feels like it's like a long time coming, like it's an accumulation over many years, and peaking now. Yeah,
totally. There's totally been many threads woven to get to this point, but definitely part of this big tapestry of life that we weave ourselves.
Can't wait to see what it looks like and what magic evolves from it.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's pretty exciting. So yeah, that's like, I'm really excited about what ATIC can bring to our community, and there's also it's going to bring money into to be able to help these levers for change happen in phase 3. So it's actually not going to be a talk fest. It's actually action, and capacity to make those actions happen. So it's happy days, really.
Yes, finally. the winds of change, it's all shifting.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much for your time. Is there anything else that you wanted to share with our listeners today on the topic of permaculture, regenerative ag, and herbalism?
I don't know. Maybe like just know that whatever's happening, that we're all connected through the soil, and soil is our common ground. I think that's the real bring it back to that, because we all need it, and it all connects us.
So true. Oh, thanks, Sal. Appreciate your time.
No worries. Thanks, Dottie.
Well, that's a wrap for this episode. If you enjoyed it, please share it now with someone you know will benefit from this information. And remember, we're not just talking about change, we are cultivating it. Through these conversations and through the Elder Tree Patreon community, together we are sowing the seeds for an education centre and healing sanctuary. You can unlock access to our treasure trove of wisdom via our Patreon, so you can do that in the show notes below or from our website. Please subscribe now and leave us a review. It really helps the bots share our podcast with the world, and your support ensures that this podcast and our vision can thrive. To grow them is to know them is to use them is to love them, and then happily herbs become your way of life. May you be blessed with good health and many plants.